When Evan Lowe was a teenager growing up in Campbell, closeted and struggling to come to grasp with his sexuality, he found himself taking surreptitious strolls through the LGBT section of Barnes & Noble. Too afraid to talk to family or friends, Lowe would nervously scan the pages of books on gay life. He wished he could become straight, and even considered conversion therapy, the controversial practice of attempting to change a gay or lesbian person's sexual orientation. "I wanted to be just like everyone else," he said. Now, as an openly gay state assemblyman in Sacramento, Lowe is leading the charge to end the practice of paid conversion therapy in California. A bill authored by Lowe, which passed the state assembly last month and is headed to the state senate, would include sexual orientation change efforts in the state's definition of deceptive business practices, essentially making therapists or anyone else who charges money for conversion therapy services open to lawsuits from their patients. We offer breaking news, sports, entertainment and other free email newsletters. Check out the full list and sign up here. In 2012, California was the first state in the country to ban conversion therapy by state-licensed medical professionals for minors. At least 10 states and Washington, D.C., have since followed suit. The U.S. Supreme Court denied appeals challenging the California law on 2 occasions. Lowe's bill, AB 2943, would go farther, changing consumer fraud laws to make it easier for adults to sue people who practice conversion therapy. The law would only apply to paid services that purport to change a person's sexual orientation, and to advertising for those services. Religious leaders and anyone else would still be allowed to offer that kind of therapy or counseling for free. Lowe, who at 34 is one of the youngest legislators in the state, has used his personal experience to marshal bipartisan support for the bill. In an emotional speech before the assembly last month, the Silicon Valley Democrat talked about experiencing suicidal thoughts as a gay teen, his voice cracking. "It brings me back to a very dark place in my earlier life," Lowe said in an interview. "I don't want anyone else to be in the same position I was in." National medical and psychological groups have opposed conversion therapy. The consensus has been very clear for decades that conversion therapy is ineffective and can harm people, said Douglas Haldeman, a psychologist in Walnut Creek and the former president of the California Psychological Association. "It's snake oil, but the bill is facing a backlash from conservative and religious groups. A torrent of online misinformation has claimed that it would lead to banning the Bible. Despite the legalization of same-sex marriage and other laws to protect LGBTQ rights, there's still a small but persistent conversion therapy industry in California." At a recent hearing for the bill in Sacramento, a parade of therapists and pastors spoke in opposition, arguing that adults should be allowed to make their own decisions about what therapy to receive. "My Bible and my gospel is not a fraud," said Mike Rogers, a pastor at a Baptist church outside of Sacramento. This bill is, get breaking news with our free mobile app. Get it from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. David Pickup, a therapist who unsuccessfully sued over the California law banning conversion therapy on minors, said he and others in his profession were already planning new lawsuits over Lowe's bill. "This is an egregious bill that violates all kinds of free speech and religious rights," Pickup said in an interview. "We don't ask legislators to believe what we believe in, but they've gone too far with this." Even some observers who oppose conversion therapy have argued that the bill as currently written is too vague and ambiguous, which could open it up to legal challenges. Lowe's staff says they're in conversation about amendments in the Senate, and Lowe is open to changes, confirming that the bill would not ban any books. People who've gone through the therapy say the new law would be an important tool in helping them gain justice. Matthew Shurka, 29, who spent 5 years in conversion therapy with a Los Angeles area psychotherapist as a teenager and young adult, at a cost to his family of $35,000, said the experience led him to suicidal thoughts and severe depression. He faced a barrage of questions and second-guessing from his therapist. He dropped out of college, became estranged from his parents, and was in and out of the hospital with panic attacks. You end up going down this rabbit hole of trying to find what caused you to be gay, Shurka said. I became a stranger to my family. Negative effects of conversion therapy can last long after the treatment is over, said Ryan Kendall, 35, who went through 2 years of therapy in Los Angeles as a teenager. Even to this day, I find myself blaming myself first when something goes wrong, because I got the message that there's something wrong with me, that I'm unlovable, said Kendall, a recent graduate of UCLA Law School. Lowe never went through conversion therapy himself, and publicly came out during his first run for elected office at age 21. He was elected mayor of Campbell in 2009, becoming the youngest openly gay mayor in the nation, and now represents Campbell, Cupertino, Los Gatos and parts of San Jose in the Assembly. Lowe has also fought for other LGBT issues over the years, collecting signatures to end a ban on blood donations by gay men as mayor, and passing legislation limiting state-funded travel to states with anti-LGBT discriminatory policies while in the Assembly. He's a great ambassador in terms of explaining, both to the legislators and the public, why these issues matter, said Shannon Minter, the legal director of the National Center for Lesbian Rights. His passion and his sincerity really come through. While spending a third of his life in politics has made Lowe comfortable speaking on the stump about issues such as combating opioid abuse or lowering the voting age to 17, other priorities of his in the legislature, the conversion therapy bill has been a little different. Giving a speech in the middle of the assembly chamber about his struggles with his sexuality made him feel like a nervous teenager all over again, Lowe admitted. You grow up and you put it away, you put it in a little box, he said. Talking about it opens that up, when you thought it was in a tidy spot.